Federal judges in Delaware are hearing requests by two defunct subprime mortgage lenders to destroy thousands of boxes of original loan documents being kept in a storage locker. The trustee says the cost for keeping these loans have become too high, but as we are still dealing with the fallout from the robo-signing scandal, is now the time to destroy this paperwork. Time to let the Willis watchdogs out. Clint David is a legal analyst at David Goodman and Medolle in Dallas. Al Lewis is a columnist with Dow Jones Newswires in Denver. And Andrea Tanteros is a Fox News contributor. Al, I want to start with you on this one.
Well, this is amazing. You know, I hear that if you go ripping through the documents on subprime loans, what you find out is about 85% of them contain some manner of fraud, whether it's by the borrower, the mortgage broker, the lender itself. These documents are in question all over America. Some are wondering whether we can even foreclose on people without them. And here we are going, you know, it just costs too much to store these things.
Amazing.
I think we need to keep them around.
Clint, what do you say?
Yeah, Jerry, our law firm represents a company that purchases huge loan portfolios, so I'm very familiar with this. Universally, the biggest problem we have in those situations is proving the chain of title of the loan. You've got to prove it was transferred to the ultimate lender, and even if it was, there's no gaps in the chain of title. If you can't prove that the lender owns the loan, the lender cannot foreclose on the real estate. It's just that simple. To destroy all of these documents would be the height of insanity and would wreak complete legal havoc. I can't imagine they would do it.
But the chain of ownership of the documents, come on, you should have that stuff. Shouldn't the banks have that stuff?
If you're asking me, yes, they should have it, but inevitably, Jerry, these files are incomplete. They've gone through 2 and 3 different lenders. The people preparing the documents aren't always capable lawyers, and typically each file is its own little mini disaster.
Andrea, I just can't get my arms around this. You know, it's an asset. They can't even prove they own it.
Well, I think the larger point here is, so tomorrow we have a president who's going to be talking about the State of the Union, talking about growing the economy. Yet, Jerry, we still can't figure out the paperwork on this housing crisis. I mean, we have just this weekend, we had 2 banks foreclosing on the same house. You and I have talked about before how banks were foreclosing mistakenly on the wrong house, coming in and seizing people's items. If we ever hope to get out of this, we've got to get the paperwork settled. It's a huge issue, and it's still a mess.
Seems so simple. I guess it's just not.
It's not.
All right, next story. The Industrial and Commercial Bank of China, or ICBC, is paying $140 million for 80% of a U.S. bank. The world's top lender is buying up Bank of East Asia's U.S. unit. ICBC's buy would make it the first Chinese lender to buy into a U.S. retail bank, and it's likely to be looked at pretty seriously by regulators. Andrea?
And it very well should be. I mean, the United States invests in other countries as well, so I'm not as concerned about the Chinese investing here. What I am concerned about is it's not a two-way street with the U.S. and China. They're not letting us invest over there, and, you know, they do have a trade surplus right now, so they've got to spend their money somewhere. I'm just nervous they're going to start to buy up U.S. companies, see how we start to make our products. Then we have real problems.
You know, Al, the only thing we got out of those Washington talks with China was the Panda Agreement. You know, I mean, I'm not really excited about this, I have to tell you.
You know, I'm going to start to long for the days when we just gave our entire manufacturing effort to China, and we said, don't worry about that. We're just going to be a service economy. We're going to have financial services. We're going to be huge. Now China's starting to buy up our financial services. I find this a little alarming.
Well, Clint, you know, China is investing all over the planet and the globe, buying up assets everywhere you look. It's just not a move on U.S. retail customers in the banking industry. It's really pervasive. Does it concern you?
It's universal. I mean, it does concern me, but it's inevitable. I mean, the fact of the matter is, and you mentioned it earlier, regulators are going to highly scrutinize this banking transaction, and apparently it's going to take a while. As you probably know, they kicked one back where they didn't allow China to invest. It will go away to strengthen relationships with China, but you're right, China's invested in real estate big time, some marquee properties in Manhattan, as you know, the auto industry. Why not retail banking?
Okay, here's a story you've been waiting for. A Minnesota sports bar showed his owner, showed his support for the Green Bay Packers game against the Chicago Bears yesterday by literally roasting a bear. He cooked the 180-pound black bear in a pig roaster over hickory and charcoal, obviously. That's how I would do it. The state health department rejected the plan because the meat is unprocessed. By the way, the Packers did roast the Bears 21-14. Clint, was this a good idea or a bad idea?
Great idea. I mean, first of all, and you mentioned it, Jerry, here in Texas, we actually smoke our bears over mesquite wood, not hickory. So, I mean, that's one distinction. But look, it's a great promo for his sports bar. I just don't know who's getting roasted worst, which bear, this bear or the Chicago Bears quarterback, Jay Cutler. Both of them are having bad days today.
I find this story deeply disturbing, Jerry.
Really?
I mean, I know I'm going to get a lot of emails for this, but it's just a game. Is there really a reason to kill a bear over it? You still got to go to work the next day, no matter who wins or loses.
Al?
Well, I think it's okay to eat anything that would eat you, and a bear certainly fits into that category.
That's a long list
but,
of
you know,
those
I
things.
think what they get sick of up there is people eating cheese. Because, you know, I eat cheese just about every single day. I never eat bear.
Very interesting point. All right, moving on. Fitness guru Jack LaLanne has died at age 96. The showman opened what was believed to have been America's first fitness club in 1936. He died of respiratory failure brought on by pneumonia. Oh, this guy was amazing. Come on. One of the people on our staff said, I don't even know who that is. I'm like, how can you not know Jack LaLanne?
Oh, my goodness.
Al, are you there?
Oh, I'm sorry, that's to me. Look, I grew up watching Jack LaLanne, man. I love the guy. Look at me, I'm halfway to 96, and, you know, I guess I owe it all to him. Really, I always thought Richard Simmons was kind of fat, and the guys that came after, you know, were just rip-offs.
Kind of fat.
Whoa.
I don't think he's kind of...
Just kind of fat. Well, for a fitness guy, he is. He's got those chunky cheerleader thighs, you know.
Oh, chunky cheerleader thighs.
I'm in such trouble now, I can't tell you the number of people.
I have to
Fox are gonna be mad at
defend
me.
Richard Simmons. I have to defend. He was the Jack LaLanne of my era, so I have to defend Richard Simmons. And I'm sure Jack LaLanne was his and Jane Fonda's idol. And I gotta say, any guy who can nickname the female derriere the back porch like Jack LaLanne did is all right in my book.
The back porch. Clint,
go.
were these? Who was your inspiration? Because Clint, you actually look
Well,
like you might be in good shape. You know.
Well, thank you. I try. I'll date myself a little. I watched Jack LaLanne as a kid, and I always found him to be so odd. I mean, he worked out on a chair, with a chair. He had this dog Happy running around. Now, he lost me a little with the tight pants, I have to be honest with you. But he was an amazing individual. He did 1,000 push-ups in under 23 minutes. He swam from Alcatraz to the coast, pulling a boat. I mean, he was an ultimate salesman and a genuine pioneer.
Genuine pioneer, as many people we mentioned in the segment today are. Thanks, Clint, Al, and Andrea. We'll be right back with My 2 Cents more. Thanks, guys.